things I like the most about gaming is to experience unique ideas and concepts, because usually big companies try to play it safe, for better or for worse. And that's one of the reasons why I love playing indie games in the first place, because they don't have to please big companies with their concepts. Where's my set? Right! Much better. Sure, there are gaming companies today that do make games with unique ideas.
Like Grasshopper Manufacture, you know, the people behind Lollipop Chainsaw, Killer 7, and No More Heroes.
But another company that does this is our subject of today, Platinum Games.
These guys are the people behind Bayonetta, Nier Automata, The Wonderful 101, and Astral Chain.
But before we had this amazing studio with the likes of Atsushi Inaba and Tweety McBlocky, we had Capcom. But more specifically, we had Clover Studio,
a subsidiary of the latter that had one mission: to produce original game franchises for Capcom to publish. Clover was running from 2003, but it was dissolved back into Capcom in 2006 after poor sales figures of the last games they produced. But you see, this wasn't your run-of-the-mill studio. Clover had the input of very talented directors like Shinji Mikami and Hideki Kamiya, people that were in charge of great franchises like Resident Evil and Devil May Cry. During their active years, Clover produced 3 franchises, and all 3 of them have garnered a cult following that grows bigger and bigger with each passing year. These franchises being Viewtiful Joe, Godhand, and Okami. McBlocky directed Viewtiful Joe and Okami, while Mikami directed Godhand.
So today, from my quarantine news set, we are going to talk about the legacy of Clover Studios, how good their games are, and if they deserve a comeback. So first, let's dive into the movie world with Viewtiful Joe.
Viewtiful Joe is an amazing side-scroller beat-em-up where you play as a movie lover named Joe that gets sucked into the movie world and becomes a superhero in order to save his girlfriend Sylvia. This game has an amazing art style for its time and a hard but addictive gameplay. Viewtiful Joe as a franchise is considered to be one of the best in history, with the character appearing in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, had an anime adaptation, laid the groundwork for Bayonetta's gameplay by having a dedicated button for punches, one for kicks, an emphasis on dodging, and a time stop mechanic, inspiring the design of the Wonderful 101, and being heavily overdue for a comeback.
For all intents and purposes, Viewtiful Joe is an amazing franchise, and its legacy is something to be admired. But it is one that came full circle.
The first game had a sequel and 2 spin-offs to go in line with the anime. The franchise ended on a high note, and it's still remembered as such. What I think would be a good idea is to remaster the original games and sell them as a collection, or separately, like Capcom already did for the Devil May Cry games on Switch. What I'm trying to say is that these games deserve to be in the spotlight once again. But I don't think Capcom has any plans on doing so, and Platinum doesn't hold the rights to the franchise.
Kamiya has gone out of his way to inform fans that if they want a sequel or a revival of Viewtiful Joe, they have to ask Capcom, because they have the rights to it. He has said many times that he would be delighted to bring back the franchise or even to create a sequel, but all of that is in Capcom's hand. The second Clover game that we're going to talk about today is Godhand.
Now, it may not be the most popular among the Clover games, but it may as well be one of the most criminally underrated games ever. Godhand is a beat-em-up game with an in-depth gameplay scheme that allows the player to customize the actions each face button does. It has a crude as hell sense of humor and a super punishing but rewarding difficulty that becomes harder the better you play. You take on a dude named Jin that gets his arm chopped up by some demons. He then gets a hand with superpowers by some ungrateful girl, and there you go beating people up.
And you know what? In today's day and age, I think that premise would be a massive hit.
You know, Shinji Mikami wanted to do a game that would use a customizable control scheme, a game which would be hard, but would create a sense of accomplishment in the player after surpassing a challenge.
That sounds awfully familiar. Where have I seen this before? Oh, that's right! The thought process behind Godhand was actually a very good one, and way ahead of its time. Shinji Mikami put a lot of effort into it, but the game was slammed by critics due to its unforgiving difficulty and control scheme in 2006.
3 full years before From Software released their first Souls game, Demon Souls, showing that there was a market for hard but rewarding games. Not to mention that throughout the years, hard games have been praised all over to the point of even achieving Game of the Year status, like last year with Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
I generally believe Godhand deserves a comeback, but don't take it from me. I had talked about the game in a very surface level, but if you'd like to watch a full rundown of the game, I recommend you Scooch's video, or to a lesser extent, because I say more about viewer discretion for this one, you could watch Set's video.
These videos represent the thoughts of people that really like the game and say it's unfair the treatment it has received.
Finally, of all the Clover games, this is the one I'm most familiar with, and one that we can say with all confidence, it's safe to come back. And it's Okami. Okami is the only one of the Clover franchises that we know it's making a comeback. We know this because Kamiya said on Twitter that he wants to direct a sequel for Okami. Thing is that even though he's eager for doing a sequel, since he directed the first one, there is a problem. The same thing like Viewtiful Joe. They don't have the rights. So if you want Okami 3, we have to ask Capcom to do so.
Across all the games Clover made, Okami is definitely one that has gotten the most love out of Capcom, getting remaster after remaster across many different platforms, all the way to the current gaming environment, with its most recent release on Nintendo Switch. Covering it here shows that the franchise more than deserves a comeback due to the amount of financial success it has, but that wasn't always the case. Back in 2006, the game was considered a failure by Capcom because it didn't achieve the numbers the company wanted in the original PlayStation 2 release, even though game critics gave it favorable scores. My guess is that it had to do with the setting of the game. In Okami, you play as the sun goddess Amaterasu in the ancient land of Nippon, on your quest to find the 13 celestial brush gods and defeat evil. The game has a unique Japanese brushstroke art style, and the structure of the game is similar to Zelda's, with dungeon crawling and all. This setting of ancient Japan and Japanese mythology might have had problems breaking the cultural barrier in Western markets. The game was a niche title on PlayStation 2, but that cultural barrier was definitely shattered with the subsequent releases of the game. The first one being on the Nintendo Wii in 2008, and every subsequent remaster with the HD moniker has been critically praised by gamers in every generation. In 2020, I feel it's the prime time to play Okami due to how accessible it is, and I think a sequel would fit right in today's gaming world, where people get excited for games with Japanese aesthetics and mythology like Ghost of Tsushima and the before mentioned Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
But with Okami on PlayStation 2 marks the end of Clover's amazing journey.
It's sad, but we can still see glimpses of Clover in every game released by Platinum Games, and that their quirky style of gaming is still as awesome as ever. Maybe Godhand and Viewtiful Joe come back, but till then, it's time to say goodbye.
Hey, thank you all you guys for watching. This video took a lot out of me to produce. It's taking a long time coming for producing this specific video. It took so long because I started working at a radio station full time. It has been my dream job for a while and I'm having a blast there. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more of my content, you can subscribe. I also did a video on Sayonara Wild Hearts. I loved that video and I think you will love it too. I hope this video was able to entertain you during the quarantine, since I think a lot of people are having more time to spend on YouTube. See you guys soon.